Hello again. I am back with unit number 38, which is the Internet services. In the previous unit, we understood the basics of the Internet, but in this unit, we are going to delve more into the various types of Internet services that are available today for us. Again, this is part of module 4, which is on networking, and that module 4 is a part of the course called Information Technology and its applications in Library and Information Science, which is the 6th course of your MLISC subject. So again, welcome to Unit 38, Internet Services. I believe that this unit on the Internet services will equip you to understand the various services that are offered today through the Internet and their relevance to the uses of your Library and Information Center. In your MLISC program, you will be able to learn how a library can benefit its users through the various forms of services that could be rendered in order to impact your users' lives and livelihoods. Sometimes you can also introduce some of these services on the Internet yourselves. So again, welcome to the 38th unit, Internet services, which is a part of the module networking, which is also a part of the course on LIS Internet services. So as usual, we would have the learning objectives spelled out now, and also I'll spell out the learning outcomes. Then we'll go into the details of the course itself. Now let me outline the objectives of this unit. I'd like to introduce you to the various internet types of internet services available, and also the internet services that could be rendered through the library information centers that you would soon manage in your life settings. And I would also end up this unit with discussing how one could evaluate the internet services in library and information centers, both from a technology point of view and also a technical services point of view. This means at the end of completing this unit, you would be able to explain your own understanding of the various types of internet services, and you would be able to highlight how these services could be rendered in your library and information centers, and you would also be able to discuss the methods of evaluating information services rendered on the internet. So let's pause here and think through the various types of the internet services. The most commonly used services on the internet are, as we discussed in the last unit, communication services such as email services. We are all familiar with using Gmails, Outlook, Yahoo Mails for many forms of communications. We send text messages, we send videos, we send multimedia packets, and so on. So email has become a predominant communication service on the internet today. Now we have also mentioned the predominant use of social media applications, whether it's the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, which is banned in India today, but in many other geographies TikTok is used, particularly in China, to connect, share content and interact with each other. We are also familiar with the messaging applications like WhatsApp, Messenger, Telegram that provide instant messaging, voice call services and video call services. We also are aware of the video conferencing facilities like Zoom, Google Meet, Skype, and various virtual meetings and online communication. So one of the primary uses of the internet is the communication services. Now, we also talked about the entertainment services on the internet, be it streaming services like Netflix, YouTube, Spotify for audio communication, Amazon Prime Video, on-demand services, to movies, TV shows, music, and all other entertainment content which are available today. Even education content can be streamed. Now, under the entertainment umbrella, we have also seen online gaming happen. Platforms like Steam and online console services enable multiple players to game on the internet, and there are digital game distribution platforms available today. So apart from communication and entertainment, we have also seen in the recent years informational and educational services. Search engines are very best tools today to use the internet for accessing information. We have Google search engine, Bing, and other search engines provide for us to access vast amount of information on the internet. We also have online learning platforms, the most popular being Coursera, edX, what they call the Khan Academy, Udacity, and so on, provide a range of online courses and educational resources. In India, platforms like Swayam, Diksha, and others provide for the educational needs of our students and the community members. We have also seen a lot of online news sites, websites that provide up-to-date data, news, and information. You don't have to really go today and read the newspaper. You could access the latest news by accessing one of the search engines, by either speaking to a search engine or typing your query into a search engine. So apart from communication, entertainment, educational, and informational services, we have also seen commerce and finance services. Online shopping is quite popular these days. Amazon, eBay, and many other online retail stores allow for online purchases. One of the other major uses in the commerce and finance stream is the online banking. We don't necessarily need to go to a bank building to transact services. Now we can access their online services. We can manage our accounts, we can transfer funds, we can pay bills, and so on. Now we have also witnessed beyond the banking services, digital payment services like PayPal, Paytm, and Amazon Pay and others, which use mobile applications for mobile payments. So we have a lot of mobile apps that ride on the internet providing digital transactions. We have also seen cloud services emerge in the recent years, where certain cloud services are very common, like Google Drive, Dropbox, iCloud, which provide storage services for sharing and storing our files. We have also seen online maps and navigations. Today, the GPS system enables us to share our location and maps and provide access navigational assistance from the internet. So there are various forms of such internet services available. Now it is important for us to also distinguish from the actual usage to the internet access technologies. So as a library and information science student, you would like to know what are the internet access technologies that connect you to the internet. We have heard about digital subscriber line, DSL connection, which uses the existing telephones but provides high-speed data access through the DSL. We have also seen cable broadband that have been made available to many of us. These use coaxial cables and cable television networks to provide connection to the internet. Now, using a smart TV, you are able to access the internet and stream movies and so on. So, cable television networks themselves provide you with access. Now, we have also used in the past, and some of us continue to use, what we call the fiber optic broadband, which is quite expensive, but at the same time, the cables transmit data as light signals, and these offer fast speed and high reliability. And the fiber optic network is prevalent all over the world, And essentially, the fiber optic network is the one that is basically allowing us to access internet through fast means. We have also seen and heard about wireless and Wi-Fi network. Now, we use radio waves here to transmit data, and these are very common in homes, in offices, in public hotspots, in airports, even in coffee shops. We use access Wi-Fi connection. Then, those who have mobile devices essentially use the cellular networks, be it 4G or 5G, that provide internet access on mobile devices to us. There is also in very remote areas where there is no fiber optic connection, we have satellite as a means to transmit data, and particularly in places where satellites can access data and provide to the local areas. Dedicated lease lines, which we used to use, are now becoming less popular, but still certain companies use private connections, and certain businesses are commonly using this dedicated lease line. And we also use for most of these ISPs, what we call the internet service providers, to access the internet. So they are the ones who fundamentally allow us to connect to the internet, provide email services. Many of them provide web hosting services. There are services like domain name registration services, where you can register your domain name. You can also today subscribe to VPN access, the virtual public networks, and you could also purchase cloud services, be it for storage or even software as a service. You don't have to have a particular software on your local hard disk. You can access that software on the cloud and also carry out your function on the cloud. And there are so many such services available. But as a librarian information science student, eventually becoming a center manager, you would want to have certain parameters before choosing an internet service. You may have to consider the speed and the bandwidth, the reliability of the service, the cost of service, the availability of the service in your local location, so that you can make the right choice. Now, having quickly run through the various information services and also the various types of technological solutions to connect to the internet, let's basically look at the types of informational and knowledge services that are available on the internet. The internet, as you know, through the web, has revolutionized access to information and knowledge. It offers a vast array of services, and let's quickly run through it. And many of these are very familiar to you. The first being the search engines. Search engines are the primary tools for finding information on the web today. They index vast amount of information, particularly web content, allowing users to search on a variety of topics. And you have Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo, and various other search engines that are popular today, Safari and others. Now, the search engines also go and start indexing every minute the latest information that's put on the web, so that when you search through these search engines, you are able to also access the latest information. So search engines is one prime way in a librarian information setup you could access informational services. You also have online encyclopedias and databases that provide very structured, organized information in a wide range of topics. And these offer in-depth articles, definitions, data which are reliable. And some of these examples are Wikipedia, PubMed for medical information, and so on. Apart from the search engines and the news websites and so on, Wikipedia and others, you also have online libraries today and online archives. The purpose of this is to basically enable our users to access digitized books and documents and also historical records, so that people can on one hand access valuable cultural and intellectual resources, but also through the Internet Archives and various projects that are being undertaken by the libraries, we are able to preserve information in a manner that these are accessible. Project Gutenberg is a good example. The National Archives web of various countries are another good example of how databases are formed. The National Digital Library of India is another good example where you can access, sitting in one place, the metadata of various library holdings, Internet Archives. There are various online library and databases that we are familiar with. There are also online library learning platforms, and we mentioned in the previous subunit that Coursera, edX, Khan Academy, even YouTube learning channel, LinkedIn has its own learning channel. All these offer online courses, tutorials, educational material that enable our individuals to earn and acquire knowledge, even skills, badges, and credits, so that we can progress in our academic pursuits. We also, in the last subunit, discussed about the online news, online journalism. Many news and media sites have gone online today. You have online journals, you have major news websites like BBC, Reuters, and others providing you up-to-date information. You also have online journals and magazines today. You don't have to buy printed copies. So this is another best method of accessing information on the internet. Now, we also have certain knowledge management systems put out by the companies for their own use as intranets, but also as large systems where SharePoints, Confluence, and various other tools are used for capturing, storing, and sharing knowledge within organization and across organizations. We've also seen the use of online forum and communities that emerge, online communities of the same interest, where they discuss the topics of their interest, share knowledge, ask questions, and support each other. Quora is one good example where as an online community we are able to question and answer on various topics. Now today we also see AI powered knowledge services which use large language models, whereby you can synthesize, assimilate, and make available very succinct, tailor-made data and knowledge outputs available to our users. So there is this increasing amount of democratization that's happening with regard to access to knowledge. Now let us also quickly look into a little more about the major learning and educational services that are available on the net. Now, one of the major educational services that are available on the web are what you call the MOOCs, massive open and online courses. MOOCs are basically short courses that have been put out by the universities and institutions for students from their own institutions, but also from other institutions to access. Swayam is a very good example in India, and Swayam Plus, which also now uses private content to be streamed. NPTEL, which came about as the IIT network enabled MOOCs, is a good starting point in the Indian context, and today we see a lot of these efforts happen. Diksha is a platform, and you have Nishtha, which is mainly for teachers. So there are various efforts within our country providing a large scale micro credentials and short courses in the form of MOOCs as online course platforms. And we also mentioned earlier Udacity, Future Learn by Open University, Coursera, which started off with the Stanford engineers doing it, and edX, which is commonly used today through the academic network, are all good examples. Now, there are also online learning platforms which are skill based. LinkedIn Learning is a good example. Skill India Digital Hub in India is a good example, where we have a large scale skill based courses available. The online courses enable you to basically just in time skilling opportunities, and again immediately utilize those skills in your day to day life, professional and personal lives. You could go and undertake a micro credential on designing a poster, to marketing a concept, or a service, or even conduct a business. Code Academy, LinkedIn Learning, Skill India Digital Hub, all these are very good examples of how you could use online platforms for skilling. Now, UNESCO, Univoc, and others are also putting out skill based courses online, which are another good examples. Now, there are various educational websites and resources that are available. Again, National Geographic is a good example of how you could go to National Geographic Education and get a vast amount of information on a variety of topics. And various university websites provide courseware. Commonwealth of Learning provides open courseware. The MIT Media Lab provides open courseware. There are so many such systems available. We also have online tutoring and language learning platforms, where Babbel, a good example, where you can go and learn any language. And you could also offer language classes and courses on the internet. Now students can connect to various tutors and get personalized instructions and so on. With AI, it's becoming all the more interesting, because very many companies are providing personal tutors to individuals, so that you could converse with those artificial intelligence enabled bots in order to actually progress in your academic life. There are also learning management systems where Moodle, Blackboard, Canvas, all these are very popular backend tools, but very many organizations have put out their own LMSs using Moodle and other open source platforms, basically to launch courses. We also have educational video platforms. YouTube education channel is a good example. Vimeo is a good example. There are so many educational videos available today online, where you could go and access content that are reliable, but also the content that are in a crowdsourcing basis put out on the internet. Now, we also mentioned about Project Gutenberg, Internet Archive, JSTOR, and others who provide online libraries and digital archives. There are interactive learning tools available. Kahoot is one good example, where you could basically get immediate answers in an interactive manner, where you could query. There are simulations, gaming software, quizzes that enhance your learning today. Learning is becoming fun. So the key trend today, as we see, is there is increased use of artificial intelligence for personalized learning. We also see the growth of micro learning, what we call the micro credentials and micro learning. Some of these bite-sized learning may be for the sake of acquiring knowledge, for fun, for knowing something. But if you look at systematically, you can also learn this to earn credits, so that you could accumulate these credits in a manner that you could end up in redeeming these credits for certifications from academic institutions. There's also some amount of rise of virtual reality and augmented reality in education. There are so many VR-based websites today. Many libraries have put out their own sites where VR-enabled content is available to their users to give a rich learning experience. There is an increase of online certification and online degrees these days. Even the Government of India through the UGC has launched online programs today, not only open and distance learning program, but online programs as well. So we have an array and a variety of services available in the educational domain today, which we can access and make available to our users. Now let's also look at the major government services that are available on the web today. Now governments are actually conducting their business, a large amount of their business online. Now, not only they are accessing local information through the local government offices to a centralized agency where they gather enormous amount of data on the various administrative subjects, but also analyze those to create better planning and also execution of their programs. But with regard to the government services commonly available to the users, we are very familiar with the online tax filing service. Now, in various countries, we have seen the growth of IT returns filed online, and people are able to pay taxes online, access tax related information, and also download their advanced tax certificates for the advanced tax that they have paid in order for them to file the tax returns. So that's one major element that we see. We also see property tax payments, and many communities are using libraries to access the internet in order to make the online payment for their property taxes and so on. That's also becoming very popular. Now, similarly, business transactions, business tax registration, GST registration to GST payments and so on are also transacted online today. So, tax and revenue collection is a major government service that is today very commonly accessible and available to a large number of citizens. We also have citizen identification and documentation services. Now you could apply for a driver's license, passport application and renewal. You could apply for the Aadhaar services in the case of India, what they call the national ID services, through the authentic government enabled service platforms, both online and also through service agents. We are now today able to access passport services, apply for passports or renewal of passports, or tracking application status, or even correcting our details in the government record, be it driving license or voter ID, or even obtaining birth and death certificate or marriage certificate today. So a lot of identity related services are made available to the citizens, and the library and information centers play a very vital role in enabling access to all these services to the citizens. Now, there are also social services and benefits, access to social benefit services, whether it is social security bonds that we want to buy, whether it is the healthcare services that we want to access, be it appointment scheduling in a particular health clinic, or accessing the medical records, or even looking at social security benefits like disability benefits or caste-based benefits, or benefits that are available to disadvantaged communities, unemployment benefits where direct cash transfers happen. All these are now today available on the internet for people to access. Now, with regard to the citizens, there is also public safety and law enforcement services available. Now, you can actually report crime online. You can interact with the police, provide anonymous information to law enforcement agencies on crime, emergency occurrences. So, citizens are able to basically report on crimes and access information pertaining to those. You can also now pay a traffic ticket for the offenses. You can pay online for the traffic violations and so on. So you don't have to be stopped by a policeman. Now you are actually charged a challan which reaches on your email or your mobile phone, where you are encouraged to go online and pay for the offense that you may have caused or committed. Now you can also access a large number of legal information, be it court records, legal codes, even the court proceedings are accessible online. Now, with regard to business and licensing, apart from the GST registration and GST payments, you could go for business registration, business licensing, you can apply for permits, you can also bid for public government procurements and so on. And we have also seen the rise of government websites and portals which provide all sorts of government information, publications, resources, white papers, green papers, discussion papers with the public for the public to input on government services or a particular act that they are trying to enact. So public consultations happen online today through the internet. And we have also seen a range of educational resources services earlier. Now, when it comes to the local level, we have seen a lot of utility payments. Your municipality would have a website where you can go and pay for the water usage, sewage services, or the electricity bill payments, and so on. So there's a large amount of transparency, accessibility to citizenry services that are available, and library and information centers play a very important role in all this. Now we have looked at a range of services that are available today, be it government services, be it educational services, be it citizenry services. Now with regard to people, young people, particularly those who are looking for livelihood opportunities, there are also online job platforms, recruitment services that are available. There are services such as how to write a CV to an online coach that enables you to tailor make your application to different job roles. There are platforms that enable you to prepare for various interviews, prepare for various competitive exams. So you have a range of online job platforms and recruitment services available today. Specialized industries are using a variety of online services to first not only screen your applications and look at your CVs, but also carry out online interviews before they actually take the chance of meeting the highly shortlisted candidates face to face. So there is this livelihood related service available online today. Now we have also seen online retail stores, affiliate marketings, freelancing opportunities for unemployed youth who could now go to online platforms to offer their skills, be it writing skills, be it editing skills, be it graphic design skills, web development skills, or selling one's own photographs, or providing virtual assistants. There are a range of services that the unemployed youth could engage in through online means today. And again, they can use the libraries to do these services and make a kind of a earnful living today without having to actually be employed by an employer anywhere. Now, we have also seen in the recent years digital marketing and social media engagement. There are people who are particularly doing search engine optimization services, labeling services, social media marketing services, email marketing services. There are paid advertisements. You could participate in certain surveys where you could provide your opinion and get paid. So a range of livelihood services are available for people. Now earlier we also mentioned about financial services, where it makes it easier for remote workers, particularly gig workers, not go all the way to their companies to work, but transact their services online, but also paid online. Now we have also seen in the recent years influencer marketing. So there are people who use their cameras and mobile phones as influencers, sharing and creating content, and they generate income through advertising and sponsorship and affiliate marketing. Many people have started earning through blog posts, through podcasts. Some of them have made a lot of money by posting YouTube videos on topics where a large number of people may be interested. So the click economy works for them. So the video creation itself is a good remunerative tool today. Now there are also people waiting to carry out remote work, and virtual offices are carried out. Microsoft Teams is a good virtual office, which could be a good example. And we have seen of late online consulting happen, online coaching happening, life coaching happening, and online platforms that support a variety of things. So maybe we should pause here and ask you to think through the various things that we have learned today and consider going online to learn more. Now let's look at how to evaluate internet services, mainly from a technical and technology point of view. Now, when it comes to internet access services provided by internet service providers, one of the ways as library and information professionals we would like to evaluate is the speed and the bandwidth. We need to understand how to evaluate the download speed and the upload speed. Particularly when it comes to streaming videos and browsing very heavy websites, you need to know whether the ISP is providing you the right download speed for the subscription that you have paid. And it also translates into upload speed as well. Because if you participate in a video call or share content, you should be able to upload it at a very easy level. So you need to really understand how to evaluate and what are the various online services that are available for you to speed check the speed of your download and upload, and also the bandwidth, the maximum amount of data that you could be transferred transmitted per second, as they say. So that is something that you need to really pay attention to. As a library and information professional, you may have to pay attention to the reliability and uptime. Particularly if you're using certain service platforms, do they perform 99.9% without interruption? So can the uptime be as nearly as 100%? And what kind of guarantee they provide? And if they don't provide that kind of guarantee, what kind of penalties that are there? Because for an information service, 100% uptime is extremely important. You cannot really have downtime. You should also be able to learn how to look at the latency, the delay in data transmission, sometimes which is very crucial for online gaming and real-time applications that your user community may be using. Lower latency is better, but that said, you should be able to see and ping and see the latency details. You should also learn how to evaluate the technical service provided on data caps and throttling, whether the provider has limited you from using the data to a particular amount, whether they are slowing down during the peak hours because of the throttling, because you don't want your user to have a very bad usage experience. So you need to be able to evaluate whether your connection is slowing down during peak hours or it's going faster during non-peak hours and so on. So you should be aware of it. You should be also aware of what kind of customer services available to you from your ISP, so that you could evaluate on the basis of the availability of customer service, but also responsiveness. Many a times they are not able to respond immediately. That is also a factor that you need to consider. Now you can check on the online reviews for customer satisfaction. There are so many other ways to assess your ISP's technical capabilities, but this is something that you want to pay attention to. You also want to pay attention to the pricing and contract terms. What is the cost of service, the length of the contract, and you should be able to compare the pricing with similar providers so that you can make an informed choice whether or not to go with a particular service provider. On and above all this, you should also be aware of the kind of technology that is likely to be used for connecting your library and information center. Is it likely to be connected through fiber, cable, DSL, which we all discussed in the previous subunit? And what are the advantages and disadvantages of each types of connection in your area? Does your ISP provide any security features so that malware protection is available, parental control is available if you have underage children accessing the internet through your library services? So you need to be able to assess on the basis of the speed, technology, security, bandwidth, throttling, all these issues. Now, when it comes to online services, you should also be aware of the functionality and features, particularly with regard to, say, if you are using cloud storage or email or any other streaming service, what kind of security is available for cloud storage, what kind of security or filtering available for the emails that you receive, and are there spam filters available, and what do you have to pay on and above the actual subscription in order for you to protect your systems with layers of security. What kind of customer service is available again when it comes to any emergency that you face. All these are factors that you need to be looking into. So usually what we do when it comes to evaluation, we read the online reviews of various service providers. We also tend to compare the various service providers that are available in the market. Before committing, we end up testing their services. We also need to ensure that the services offered are customized to your needs. Many a times people may be billing for the services, bundled services, some of which you may not use. So you may have to really look into it and see whether you are paying for certain services you are never going to use. And if your service provider is forcing you to purchase those services as a bundled service. You should also pay a lot of attention to the service level agreements that you are likely to sign on behalf of your library and information center, because various SLAs go into fine prints where there are finite details that may be binding on your case. So how are there data privacy protections available? What are the security practices for the sensitive data, and the security certifications for accessing various sites, and so on, are things that you need to be aware of. So having said that, on the technology and technical and service provision side, we have gone through various parameters that we want to keep in mind. But when it comes to the information itself, of course, there will be a detailed, perhaps a course on this within the MLIS topic. There could be various modules that would be dealing with. But in this particular unit, I want to quickly touch upon evaluation of information sources themselves. What are the criteria that we could use? Now, one of the things that we often want to ensure as library professionals is the accuracy and reliability of information and data that we access. The source credibility, who created the information, is the author reputable, or the citations made available, or the references support the claim. Now with generative AI generated content, sometimes there is this question mark on the citation and the supports and the references to the content. And again, as a library and information professional, you should be aware of the various fact-checking mechanisms, cross-references for ensuring that multiple sources are being looked into before you actually recommend a particular information site or a source to your audience. You should be aware of the biases, the sensationalization of content, and look for evidence and also peer reviews so that you have an oversight of the content with regard to the facts checking. You would also, as a library and information professional, would like to look at the up-to-dateness of the information that's available, whether it is correct, whether it is rapidly changing, the objectivity of the information presented, the potential conflict that a particular information provided through your information center could create, the hidden agenda of different people and different speaks. This is where as objective librarians, we need to exercise our own judgmental value and not become biased on our own. And when it comes to educational content, one of the ways that we oftentimes assess the efficacy of the education content is based on the learning objectives. Even in this one course, I spelled out the learning objectives and the learning outcomes that are important for us to be aware of. The content quality that is provided in the education software, that's something that we need to be aware of. If the content is well organized, clear, engaging, if the information presented is logical, is there clear instructional design or blended learning design that is followed in the education content? Is there a quick feedback mechanism available? Are there interactivity offered? Is there practice-oriented question made available? Are the assessments very objective that enable us to measure the learning progress? All these factors that we need to look into. and also the accessibility factors, whether it is pertaining to persons with certain disabilities, specific learning disabilities, language disabilities, or they're in a readable format, particularly for visually impaired people. So all these are factors that we need to think through. When it comes to the user experience, some platforms go to blind spots, or the platforms easy to navigate and use. The content is visually appealing, engaging, or their community support available for the learners, so that learners can not only turn to administrative support but also academic support services. So these are the factors that as librarians we are expected to basically be mindful of. And when it comes to basically looking at educational sources, information portals, the various services that we discussed in the previous subunit, you would like to really pay some attention to. Now, there are various tools and techniques available with regard to fact checking. There are tools like Snopes, PolitiFact, factcheck.org. There are reverse image searches that could be made available, because today images are manipulated and misinformation is created. We could also do domain analysis, but more importantly, as library and information professionals, we should keep reading. We should keep reading, and we should keep updating ourselves on the perils of what is happening in the name of disinformation, post-truth, and all sorts of infactual information that's made available, which could be harmful to our citizens. But when it comes to other aspects like usability, accessibility, mobile friendliness, clarity and accuracy of content, whether the content is complete, whether the language and readability is aligned to the user community, if there are online support systems available, the responsiveness of your service provider, security and privacy of the information, citizens' engagement with regard to feedback, and the transparency in which all these service providers operate. All these are factors that as library and information professional you may have to be mindful of, and I would encourage you to spend a lot of time reading through all this material and information, so that you are very thorough in terms of not only managing your library and information service, but also managing the way that you offer your internet services to your citizens. Thank you.